Meanwhile, the New York Times out with a new report about former President Trump's plans for immigration and the border should he be elected next year. The headline reads this: sweeping raids, giant camps, and mass deportations inside Trump's 2025 immigration plans. The author claims that Trump plans to scour the country for unauthorized immigrants and deport millions every year. My next guest, former acting director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Fox News contributor Tom Homan, was interviewed for the article and is now accusing the author of writing a, quote, one-sided story. Tom, I mean, reading this headline, I've got to say I'm not buying it. The New York Times has such bias against Trump. But tell us your story. You think this is all one-sided?
Well, it is one-sided because, I told this reporter that I promised President Trump if he comes back, I come back. And we will run the largest deportation operation this country's ever seen. And why is that? Because millions of people have been released in this country by the Biden administration. The Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, has said under oath numerous times, if they don't qualify, they'll be immediately removed. Well, he's not doing that. For the Trump administration, we'll keep that promise. We are going to remove them. But we're not going to do this. He made it sound like there's going to be thousands of ICE officers, sweeping neighborhoods looking for illegal aliens. That is not the way it works. Every person ICE arrests, they know exactly where they're going. They know exactly who they're looking for. So it's a targeted enforcement operations. That's the way we do things. I also told the reporter we won't concentrate on criminals and fugitives first, but no one's off the table. So it isn't this big sweep walking through neighborhoods to look for something that might be illegal. No, These are targeted enforcement operations, but it's going to be huge because millions of people have been ordered removed by immigration courts under this administration, and ICE is not allowed to remove them under this administration.
Tom, this is why the New York Times and the Washington Post has lost so much credibility, because they write an entire story about immigration, and they don't even mention the fact that federal officials have been warning that members of Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah could be crossing through the southern border. And this is according to an internal memo that was dated October 20th, exclusively obtained by the Daily Caller News Foundation. So they write this whole story about all these plans that Trump has, and they don't even acknowledge the current issue that is dogging this country with potential terrorists crossing into the country, fentanyl costs crossing into the country, and women getting raped.
Yeah, in the people arrested on terrorist watch lists across our border, that's even being misreported because last year, FY23, there was 227 people on terrorist watch lists crossing the border. That's what everybody's talking about. But no one's talking about the northern border that same year had 432 people off the terrorist watch list. So last year, it wasn't 227, it's 659. 659 people were caught crossing the border that on the terrorist watch list. And Maria, we're not even talking about the 1.7 verified, 1.7 million gotaways. How many of them are no suspected terrorists? I've said it 1,000 times, I'll keep saying it. This is the biggest national security failure this country's seen since 9/11, and it's self-inflicted because this administration refuses to secure the border. We did it under the Trump administration. They know how to do it. The playbook's there. All they got to do is dust off that playbook and secure the border. Put the Remain Mexico program back in tomorrow.
Yeah,
tomorrow
that's right.
do that.
Yeah, and Liz, that is why this week there will be a movement in the House to impeach Alejandro Mayorkas.
Too late, Maria, because Mayorkas has been in violation of something called the Secure Fence Act of 2006, which basically commands Mayorkas to have so-called operational control of the border. He has not had operational control of the border since day one. He has lied about it to Congress, which is another offense, in my view. I am actually shocked that Congress, which, by the way, brought articles of impeachment against Mayorkas as early as 2021, has not really moved on this because he continues to lie about it. And Mr. Homan, you know better than anybody, they have done nothing to turn around a situation which everybody agrees is a national security risk, an economic risk, and even Democrats like Eric Adams are up in arms about.
Look, I've been calling for Secretary Mayorkas' impeachment for over 2 years. If the Republicans need to get off their butts and get it done, Under this secretary, we have lost control of the border. We have record number of known as suspected terrorists being arrested at the border. We got a record number of gotaways, and we got a record number of Americans dying from fentanyl overdoses. We got 112,000. You got 1,700 migrants have died on U.S. soil. Every record he's broken has been a bad record. If they can impeach President Trump for making a phone call to Ukraine, they certainly can impeach Alejandro Mayorkas for turning his back on the security of this United States. He has all the data points you and I have been talking about. He knows the data, but he's ignoring it, and he hasn't done a damn thing to slow the flow on that southern border.
Right.
Not one thing.
And now the administration claims that they're planning on constructing a quote-unquote movable border barriers. They claim this is going to help control migrant traffic. Biden's planned barriers are shorter than the barriers of President Trump's wall, so there's tons of gaps in them. Former Border Patrol Chief Rodney Scott is calling this a downgraded border wall. He's also warning that if the fencing is not placed far enough into the ground, somebody's just going to be able to use a vehicle to shove it out of the way. Tom, what are your thoughts on this movable fencing that the Biden administration claims is the answer here?
They're ignoring all the studies we did on the Trump administration. We had manufacturers come and build different prototypes of a border wall. We had 10 or 11 different prototypes of the border wall. We studied each wall, which is more difficult to climb, which can't you dig under, which one can you drill through, which one can you knock down. So we took all these different prototypes, like 11 of them. We took factors from each prototype that we like. We like something about this wall, we like something about that wall, and we created a prototype that was hard to climb, hard to dig under, hard to knock down, that would allow floodwaters to flow through it, gives Border Patrol an eyesight what's coming at them from the south. A lot of thought and study went into this. So they're ignoring all of that and going with some model that's not going to work. And like you said, it's not going to be effective because they're ignoring the studies we did for months on what works. And they just, that the millions of dollars we spent on this study, they're throwing it all down the tube because they're going to build something that's not going to work. Because they want to claim they're doing something, but they're not. They're not really doing anything. They've done nothing, again, to slow the flow. Everything they have done is to send more resources to the southern border, to process quicker and release quicker, so there's no overcrowding, nothing to see here.
Well, I'll tell you, there are so many fires to put out because of this administration. I would say the biggest dumpster fire is the border. That is the biggest dereliction of duty that I can see, putting America in such jeopardy in terms of our own security. Tom, thanks for your work. We'll be watching that. Thank you for joining us this morning, sir. Tom Homan.
Thanks for having me.